let's look through this vehicle and see why would it be a good buy overall. So when we look at this vehicle, first, this is from the condition report. The head gives a little more information since this is an expensive vehicle and I'm planning to buy a luxury SUV. So we'll see if this vehicle will be worth it or not. But even if you go back to the original listing and go through the pictures. So when we look through these pictures, we can see that the fender is missing, but the structurally doesn't look to be too bad. There is even minimal damage to the structure. We can adjust it. Also, the front bar right here from the bumper, it looks straight. And worst case, if it needs to be replaced, it can be unbolted. In BMW, it's right there. You can see in the middle there's a bolt, so you can remove and replace it. But as long as it doesn't change the structure of the main rails, they go on each side of the radiator. But it doesn't have substantial damage here, at least from the pictures, to be able to have any issues with that. So, you likely don't need a frame machine for this. You can just get the parts and assemble it. I don't have a frame machine, so it would be a hassle for me if I had to do any framework. So I'm trying to avoid it. Other thing that we want to see that the dash airbag didn't deploy, since you have to take out the whole dash typically if you want to have a nice fix for that. So here it didn't deploy, so that's good. There was some issues with the door, but right now we just need to put it on the mirror and maybe have to repaint it. Don't know what condition it is, but it doesn't look like it doesn't have any dents, so no body work needed. The hood might be hard to repair, maybe need to be replaced, or maybe it can be repaired. It's not that extensive, not that bad. We'll have to see. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. On this side as well, looks even better. The fender looks straight. Maybe it was replaced, but doesn't look like too extensive damage. The wheels look straight. Doesn't look like it's too bad. The rest of the car looks fine. The interior looks okay. I didn't see, when I went through details of the picture, didn't see any issues. Now, this is important. This shows us how far did the damage get. Because of these bars, if any of them or any of these plastics around it are cracked or damaged, then the hit went and at least got to the radiator and damaged some of these parts. Because this is straight and these components, some of the side plastics, everything here is still there. So the damage didn't get too far. So we'll be dealing with the front of the car. We won't have to deal with the damage to these rails and other parts. Now, mileage doesn't have a lot of miles, so that's very good. Also, for the package, it has the advanced cruise control because of this part that detects the activity of the driver, the BMW. And then we have the VIN numbers. Also, this is being sold by the insurance company, so we know that they're not going to just doctor the vehicle. So if you want to have it on a sale, best is to buy from the insurance company. Since the insurance company is selling it, this would be a decent buy. Cost-wise, a bit expensive. Considering this vehicle, it's worth around $60,000-$70,000 when it's new. With 10,000 miles, it's probably around 60 or so. Plus, because it's a salvage title, you're losing 20% of the vehicle worth. So if it was 60,000, once it's repaired, it's worth 20% less. In addition to that, you have to subtract all the parts that you're gonna buy, even if you do the work yourself. And then if you need to do any painting, any other work, you need to subtract that as well. So for this vehicle, it's probably worth around 30, mid-30s. Probably not worth 40. 40 is probably too much with the amount of parts that need to be put into it. But one thing is why I think it's worth more than other vehicles, and sometimes they sell in low 30s and things like that, is because the package on this vehicle is very good. And you'll see how to check that. For BMW, I'm using a website. This is mdecoder.com. Basically put in the last 7 digits of the VIN. And when you run it, it will give you all the information on the package of the vehicle. So it gives you the VIN number, the type of the vehicle. So this is the G05 series. It's a 40i X-Drive. So what that means, the all-wheel drive, and this is the 6-cylinder version. Now, also by horsepower, you can see it's a 6-cylinder version. It's a black color, has merino leather, so this is a premium package. You can go to BMW website, especially for newer vehicles, and try to build it and see what those options cost. So merino leather, this is a premium package for the leather. It's an M Sports package, so that's another $6,000 in this package alone. The other thing is to have the main package for all of the luxury features. What I do, I just search for one of the features that's only available in the luxury features. And that specific feature is soft closed doors. Basically doors that if you don't close them all the way, they close themselves. And as you can see, this vehicle has them. That means it has the luxury package for the BMW, basically the best package. In addition to that, it has the 22-inch rims, which is the largest rims you can get in BMW, remote start. And the other items are related to the seats as M Sports brake package, which is another extra. So traffic jam assist, this is part of the basically package for advanced cruise control, so that's available as well. The laser lights, so the lights are laser beam lights, so they're missing, so this is one thing that you have to buy. So there's actually a bit of an issue because these new ones are close to $3,000 and used ones are at least $1,500 per light. So you're just looking at $3,000 just to replace the headlights. Sometimes you can find them a little bit cheaper. Maybe you'll get to $2,500, not $3,000, but still, that's an expensive part that you'll need to get. It has a heads-up display, so that's great. What else? Has an upgraded sound system and heat package, comfort, and then it has another package. Should have it, I believe, for front and rear heated seats. Let's see. Yes, front and rear heated seats. In addition to that, has glass package for controls, which is a nice feature. Where basically, some of the controls are this crystal glass, which looks really nice. It has a massage function, so it has advanced features for the seats. So pretty much it's fully loaded. This car is fully loaded with all the features and extras. So when you buy it, it wouldn't be a $60,000 vehicle. Brand new would be $70,000 or even close to $80,000 vehicle when you buy it brand new because of all these extra options. So even though they say it's $60,000, probably with the miles and everything, it's more worth around $70,000 if it was a clean title. So it gives you a little more more bang for your buck for the money that you buy. Now the other items that you would check is, of course, the history of this vehicle. So we would look, and I can look at the report. We would look at the history of the sale of this vehicle. Because it's being sold by insurance, likely doesn't have any history, but we can check anyways. And we can see here there's no seller history. So basically, and it's likely being sold by insurance company. It's a pure sale, but I do believe there is a limit on the sale as well, so you have to get approval. And with insurance sales, there's very often that there's a limit. So information that we see here, it's pretty accurate. Now it gives you pricing as well. Commonly they sell for $27,000, ranges 58 to 18,000, average price is 33. With this package, probably around 35 would be still a good buy. Anything close to 40 would be too much. Over 40 is too much for this vehicle. Mid-30s is where I want to end up, probably 35 or so. Anything over is a bit too much because there's still a lot of work that you need to do on this car. And there's other ones that don't have as much damage. And you can buy them for a similar price, 35, 40. So if and recently there was one that sold for 43 that had very limited damage and just needed bumper replaced and some work on the suspension, so it would be around $5,000 to do the work, and it's only sold for 43. So I would say 45, maybe 40 max for that because the package here, this one's fully loaded. You should also run a vehicle history report. There's some free website that you could use for vehicle history report. or you can also look for the paid ones. The broker that I use for the vehicle, this is one of the websites that you can run for free and gives you most of the information that you need to check on the vehicle. So I think we already had copied the VIN number. Let's do the search. So here, the main thing they're looking for is the history of the vehicle, when it was sold. It was just sold about a year ago. As odometer 98,000. So this is probably before the auction. An incident on record, so 35. This is when it got into the accident. So basically about a month ago. So we didn't have a chance to be sold around based on the previous website that we saw. So basically, you buy a vehicle right after the accident. Front end, salvage, title, that's expected. That's about it. If you have any question on the recalls, things like that, general information on what kind of features they have, this vehicle will give you more information. Common features, things like that, but it's not really helpful. The main thing that I'm looking for is just the history right here on when the vehicle was sold, if there were any accidents, any other sales. Sometimes vehicles sold multiple times, sometimes they're in multiple accidents. Maybe they already had a salvage title and this is the second accident it has. So you don't know what's going on, but it gives you basically the history of what's been done, what's the history of the vehicle. And you can get a more detailed report from some of the paid websites. If you want, especially for more expensive vehicles, even if the extra report costs $10 or so for a $30,000-$40,000 vehicle, is definitely worth it. Spend the extra $50 and get all the information you have so you can make a good decision. If you need to spend it on 10 vehicles, so you're looking through vehicles, you're bidding on different ones, so you're gonna spend $500. You're gonna spend, on these reports, on Copart report. If you cannot see the vehicle, and you're gonna spend, on 10 vehicles, $50 each, $500 is still nothing if you're spending $30,000-$40,000 on this vehicle, because you made a bad decision and it needs extra parts. That's going to cost you a lot more. So take the time, check the history, check the package, check the vehicle itself, check all the pictures, get as much information as you can before you go and bid. And the next thing would be is, for Copart, I don't have the license to bid on Copart. So I go through a third-party broker who basically bids on my behalf, and I have to pay him a fee. So I'll show you how it's going to be done. But right now, for this specific vehicle, if you go to the auction itself, it's already a live auction. It's ongoing. We know there's 44 minutes left for this auction to come up. We're going to bid on this vehicle. But there's another one that has less damage. Package is not as good, doesn't have the premium leather, things like that, but it's probably will sell for less and has very minimal damage. So if you look at this vehicle, the damage here is just the fender. The bumper looks fine, and mainly you're going to be replacing the door and fixing the fender, and that's it. And there's some trim, a little bit trim missing right here near the glass, but overall, again, airbags are not deployed, everything's fine. It looks like they took apart some parts, and you can see here the part is open, but I believe it's also sold by the insurance company. It doesn't list insurances here, but on the other website it says it could be insurance and doesn't have any history of previous sales. Also has the advanced cruise control. So you can see this package is pretty good. I mean, the things that it's missing, this is M package as well. For the vehicle, you can tell it's an M package from this vehicle because of the grille. It's different, the bumper and the grille here is different. But the laser light, the same soft closed doors, has the most advanced package in it, but it's missing the leather features. So the seats are nice leather, but not the best leather that they have, that the BMW has. Doesn't have the glass controls, doesn't have the rims are smaller. So some small things, but okay, those extra features are not that important. They cost maybe an extra $5,000. So if you buy this vehicle for $10,000 less than the other one, it's still a great deal. It would be a better deal as well. So if you don't get that car, there's other ones. And there's another one that's gonna sell for a lot, but it's a very nice one. This is actually, first of all, this is the 50i. This is V8 version. This is not the regular version. It doesn't have any visual damage, and the airbags are not deployed. Everything inside is in very nice condition. And this is the V8 that I spoke of. It has undercarriage damage, so I don't know what it is, but it also says it's run and drive, so it's not like the engine is damaged. It sounds like it's okay. So if we don't get this, we might wait for this vehicle. It has some minor scratches, but the wheels look straight. Everything looks okay. So it's really interesting to see if what's the damage is. The other thing is, it's in New Jersey. It's not far from me. I'm in New York, so I can go and actually see it. And it's still not listed for sale, so it's going to take a few. I think it's going to come up in next month likely for sale. So I have enough time with maybe coronavirus going down, and can go and see this vehicle because this looks great. It looks like the repairs are going to be very minimal. But if I can find what's the undercarriage damage, I mean, it's still a salvage. So for somebody to salvage it, they had to have substantial damage, and at least normally it's some frame damage. But if it's on the bottom, the frame damage might not be that extensive. I mean, overall, the frame thing looks okay. So it might be just the rail or something that they ran over and damaged some of the suspension. But look at the wheels. I mean, they're sitting fine. It doesn't look like there's any damage. The rims, at least from here, look okay. So when we get the detailed report, we'll have better pictures. If you could see any damage, but nothing is punctured. I mean, I'm very surprised with this car of what is the actual damage. But looking at this, I mean, it's gonna go for $50,000-$60,000, likely probably around 60. So it's extra $20,000. I don't really need the V8. It's nice to have, but this car is going to be a gift for my wife for her birthday once I fix it. So it's going to be a car that we're going to drive the kids in. We don't need a V8, so paying an extra $15,000 for the V8 it's just a lot less work. So just the time saving, the part saving that you're going to get, you can get this up and running much faster, unless it has something really serious on the bottom. So that's where you have to set the limits on how much you're going to pay for these vehicles. And then if you don't get it, don't worry. You might have to wait an extra week or a few days, but there's other ones, and these are other ones. All these have M package, all these are nice versions. This is an X7. I'm not really interested in X7, so probably not going to bid on this one. But the X5, so I have another 4 options that can do. This one would be a good buy because even though it has a lot more damage, it's probably going to go much cheaper. It's not a running version, and still a very good package. It's the M version. It's have regular leather seats, but it's still good. Nothing really. The main things that I want, the M package and the better cruise control, things like that. It's in here. The engine looks undamaged, as you can see as I was talking. These parts look undamaged. You can see the plastics here. So there wasn't much hit here, mostly on the left side. On the driver's side, and here on the driver's side, these parts look okay. Maybe some small damage. You can see some marks from the insurance company, but doesn't look to be extensive. So if there's any repairs, it's pretty much putting in new parts. The thing that worries me is that it's missing a door. So you have to make sure the connections here, if you have to weld things or not, that you have to add. But the other thing is, if it's missing a door or any of the windows or anything, I already bought the 3 Series. They had the windows broken. Even though damage was minimal, it was left open for a long time when it was sitting at the auction. So what does that mean? It gets flooded. So now you're dealing not just with the damage, you're dealing that the cluster here, or the seat, everything right here could get flooded. And it's very probable they got flooded. So when you buy these vehicles, unless you see them, you should be expecting that you're going to have flood damage, water damage on this part of the vehicle. And likely, because it was open this way, the whole front floor was flooded. If there's any components that's laying on the floor, everything's going to be flooded. So you're going to be taking out the carpets, you're going to have to clean it, you're going to have the smell from the flooded car. So it's not just damage on the side, it's also a partially flooded car. That's what you're buying. So you have to adjust the price accordingly. But if you buy it for 30, low 30s, or for even $30,000, it's worth it. And you can probably buy it for high 20s, 30,000. So it's going to be probably 10,000 less or so from the other car. It's a little more work, but the vehicle looks great. So it's a good buy as well if you're not afraid to do the work. I mean, out of everything here, I don't think it has much frame damage. It looks minimal if any. The main thing that worries me is that the door is missing, so there was substantial damage to get the door out, and I think you can see that there's damage here. Yeah, I think here in the middle, you could see that it looks like there's dented in the frame where the door come in and the latches come in. So that's going to be the main issue to fix. So I probably will have to go to a shop to get that done. But other than that, the rest of it looks very good. So don't get afraid and discouraged if you don't win the car. It's nothing. But on the next one, make sure you set your limits. Get as much history as you can. See the vehicle. It's a huge plus if you see it. I've seen a lot of doctored cars. So try to get away from that. All right, let's see how the bidding goes on the car that I want and see if it's going to be our next project.
Approaching minimum bid. Bonus time. New bidder. This is a hot lot. Bonus time. Bonus time.